What does Disney have planned? We hear a lot about the surging middle class in China, increasingly looking to travel, both domestically and abroad. Give us a sense of what Disney wants to get out of this park.
Yeah, this is a huge investment on the part of Disney. It's several $billion of capital putting into China here. And the CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, said this is as important to Disney as opening up Orlando and Disney World was, a generation ago. So this is a big deal for them. And of course, it is a play, as you mentioned, on the growing, burgeoning middle class in China, increasing this disposable income, greater trend towards commercialism, consumerism. And Disney has certainly been there with its films in the past, but it has not been there with its parks and resorts, which have historically been a fantastic business for Disney. One could argue, if you look at some of the statistics, that no one does the resort business better than Disney, and they're certainly a world leader, so China's a place that they have to be.
Dare I invoke Euro Disney? Obviously, there were some lessons learned there. That too was a while back. I mean, we're talking many decades ago. What has Disney learned in terms of building these theme parks, and what's it taking to mainland China?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that, by Disney's own admission, they learned from Paris was, don't forget local. Keep it local. Keep local characters, local traditions, local customs. It's not just importing Orlando to Paris, for example, or Anaheim to Paris. It's really, trying to take advantage of some of the unique attributes of the local community, the local customs, and so on. However, layering on top of that, everything that is Disney. So it's a very difficult balance, but it's one that I think Disney was much more attuned to this time around than they were perhaps with Paris.
You mentioned how well Disney does the theme park experience. Talk about how integral it is to their business model. We're seeing a real push here by Disney to, yes, get people to go to movies, and then from there go to the theme parks to see rides, to see things, the attractions that are based on those.
Yeah, historically, no one's done that better. That is to expand or extend a brand, extend a franchise, extend a character from the movies, for example, to its theme parks. They've done it time and time again, and they're certainly going to do it, I think, coming up with all the Marvel characters, with the Frozen story, which has been such a success for them. So, they have done it consistently better than anybody else, and it is obviously a big part of it because they have made some very big investments in their film business. Billion-dollar investments of Pixar, multi-billion-dollar investments in Marvel and Lucasfilm. So it's not just about the film in and of itself, although they have all generally been extraordinarily successful films coming out of those franchises, but then extending it to their parks and resorts and even to their television properties as well.
I just want to pivot here a bit. We saw the governor of Georgia, Nathan Deal, veto a piece of legislation this morning, one that a lot of media companies, Disney included, called discriminatory, looking at people who are gay, placing restrictions on what businesses can do. Let's just listen to what Nathan Deal had to say when he vetoed that legislation this morning.
Our people, every day, work side by side without regard to the color of their skin, of their fellow mate, or the religion that their co-worker might adhere to. They are simply trying to make life better for themselves, their families, and their communities. That is the character of Georgia. I intend to do my part to keep it that way.
Paul, you cover a lot of media companies. As I said, Disney was among those pushing for the veto of this legislation, initially pushing for it not to go through the State House at all. Describe the pressure that the governor was under here.
Yeah, this is, for the media companies in general, almost all of the large media companies came out and really putting pressure on the governor to veto this bill, primarily because Georgia has really established itself as a very big film and television production location outside of Southern California. The state has been very aggressive about promoting tax incentives to lure television and film production to the state, and it's been very successful for all parties involved. So I think that's a business that I think, certainly the media companies want to preserve. They want to preserve that relationship, and I'm sure many in the state do as well. So again, I think that allowed them to really apply some meaningful pressure to the governor here.
Just with about 20 seconds left, we're seeing a lot of CEOs speaking out on issues like this. Mark Benioff at Salesforce, for instance, really using their platform across the country in states that are dealing with laws like this.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think certainly for some of the larger companies that do business in lots of different communities around the world, they have to be sensitive to their workforce, sensitive to the business conditions, and sensitive to what they believe is good business for their business.